Diplomatic Corps, credited to Zambia, ambassadors and high commissioners, let me acknowledge our various bilateral and multilateral partners. Let me acknowledge leaders of business that are in the House today, but most of all, the framework that I think has been able to help us deliver what you have listened to today. The IFC colleagues, thank you, both of you that have spoken today. I was joking to the lady there that the first IFC guy who spoke, he and I used to hide. In my difficult days in opposition, we used to hide to plan about what we are just doing here. We used to plan way before we formed government. Yeah, we carried that vision well before Zambians were able to put us in office. As I will talk about Zambia Sugar very briefly or later, just to acknowledge the strides that have been made by Zambia Sugar when we look back to the transactions that we did many years back, and so gratifying to see that from a vision to practical, deliverables. Congratulations, Zambia Sugar. I think we may clap for Zambia Sugar again. So I know, Secretary of Cabinet, you have all your team members here, and central government, local government, colleagues that are here, thank you very much. May I simply say, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, but I must acknowledge the media, very important, that we take for granted many times. So thank you to the media. And you have already been welcomed here, and primarily to acknowledge that we've done this for 4 years now, without fail, from the time the PPDF, PDU were launched. And it came as just one or platforms to help us plug delivery challenges that we face, not just in the public sector, central government, local government, but I must say, honestly, even in the private sector, I come from there, the challenges that we face to get things done, to focus on deliverables rather than focusing on processes only and praising, worshipping processes. I think processes are only of value if they lead to deliverables. That's the way we should see things. And so these instruments were put together to help us deliver on many aspects, which were absolutely essential to achieving our overall economic development agenda, growth, and more growth. That's a single-mindedness with which these instruments were put together. Nothing else, no malice. Yes, I know a few people along the way, but I think when things are done, we know that there will be more smiles, a lot more smiles, I must say. So today, I chose not to present a speech. I chose to take a conversational approach. I think that's important. That's figuring it out in my mind, that I want to take a more conversational approach in my contributions today to already the very rich, I think, stuff that we have. Sitting here and listening to various presenters, you would agree with me that we can move this country from where we were 4 years ago, debt burdened, declining economy, basically, challenges in the public sector, paying salaries, local authorities, many issues, mining sector going down. And today we can listen to these testimonials. I think we must clap for ourselves. So if I may then walk the path of those that have spoken before me today, as I present let me just pick key notes, as I said in my conversational approach. Reforms. Reforms are necessary. You want to aim at something, understand that, with the understanding that that you aim at achieving has been basically difficult to deliver, we need to step outside the normalcy. We need to step outside the straight line, sideways, and many other directions. But one thing that we knew would help us, and observing public sector from outside in the private sector for many years, I went into the business community at an early age, 27, and then working with colleagues in the Chamber of Commerce, then several. We discussed these issues, that this country is so endowed with resources. How come we're not growing fast? Some of the things we knew needed to be dealt with were the rigidities in getting things done. Therefore, the reforms are essential. Reforms do deliver positive results. It's a conversational note. And being this our fourth private sector day since 2022, PPDF, PDU, these were put together working with colleagues, as you heard, IFC, the World Bank, but more importantly, within government, working within government, broader government, central, local, quasi-government, and also, more importantly again, with the private sector. One of the challenges was that how do we actually strategize together, isolate priorities together, and work our way through that. Of these priorities, these elements of these priorities need to go into certain government instruments, such as what? Such as the budget, national budget, instrument for generating and directing revenue, generating revenue and directing expenditure. I want to put it correctly. To work together. Now, this is not a government budget. This is the Zambian budget, Zambian economy. In that economy, there are many players, and the private sector are critical. There were attempts in the past to do that. Many of the colleagues in this hall are aware of those attempts. But we thought that this way of a structured approach to sit together, isolate things together, and build a team, one team. I've been saying to colleagues in the private sector, this business of saying, government is not doing this, government has failed this way. You have failed. We have failed. And the government saying, no, the private sector is greedy, the private sector is not doing this, not paying enough taxes. How would they pay enough taxes if they're not growing? How? So, therefore, the reforms, necessary reforms, working together, public-private sector, yes, we can't do 20 things at a time, but we could do 10, 11, 12, 15, as you have heard from Peter in that summary. Very good summary. I think that was the idea. And to stand here today, to listen to the stories that have been told and how the reforms are driving our single-mindedness towards the agenda of economic growth and more growth, for jobs, for more business opportunities. You've seen, seated next to two great ladies, young ladies, there. So before their stories came through, I said, why did they put these ladies on this table? What are they doing here? Why them? And in the process, I appreciated why we're sitting together. Don't misunderstand me. Not that there's a special group of people that should sit there, but really their stories, energy, business, food, delivery, service, and then the IFC colleague, of course, Andrew. Most in this room now where Andrew and I come a long way. By the way, Zambia Sugar, MD, Andrew and I worked together to restructure Zambia Sugar many, many years ago. And Andrew reminded me, I was just 30 years old at the time when we did that. Anyhow, this is what reforms can do, colleagues. That's the first conversation on not. The importance of doing things differently. Because we can't do the same things and expect different results. We have to do things different. We have to embrace reforms. For micro businesses, for small, medium businesses, for large businesses. I was asking Andrew there why certain of the presentations are not coming through, which are scheduled. And he did say, anyway, because of time and stuff like that. Because you would have listened to other businesses that have benefited from these reforms, including big businesses. I see Anton seated there. Anton, just stand up, face the people, wave. Wave. Come over here, Anton. Walk over there. Just tell people who you are and how the reforms have made a difference in your business. 1 minute.
Thank you, Excellency. My name is Anthony Malenga. I'm the country director for Barrick Lumwana. So the mining reforms have transformed our business into what we're calling a super pit. With the changes in mining regulation and policy stability, we're going to invest $2 billion to expand Lumwana's production. Thank you, Excellency.
And creating jobs, roughly? How many
Yes.
additional jobs?
Currently, we employ 3,000 people. We're going to double that employment number, and also 5,000 contractors. That will get to 10,000 contractors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anton. May we clap for Anton. Is your partner here from First Quantum? Is your friend here? Come. Where are you? Hey, Dr. Bean. They call him Dr. Bean. He's Dr. Bene, but these white guys call him Dr. Bean. Andrew, that's the approach I wanted to take. A conversation, interaction. Yes. Yeah, come through. Say your name. How have the reforms brought value to your company?
The president calls me Dr. Bean. I'm Dr. Bene, Godwin Bene. I'm country manager for First Quantum. If the reforms had not happened, we would not have invested in the expansion of Kansanshi S3, meaning Your Excellency would have been preparing to close down that mine now. The process, the orderly process of closing down, as per First Quantum structure, would have been put in place so that 3 years later, we are orderly out. Neither will Zambia be priding itself in being the largest producer of nickel in Africa, among other things. So that's these two. Your Excellency, I think enough. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah. But Dr. Bene, just hang on. These reforms that then made you to extend the life of Kansanshi by well over 20 years. And, of course, the largest nickel mine on the continent came on the back of these reforms just within 4 years. But just S3 and the target towards 3 million tons of copper by 2031. What are you contributing as First Quantum towards that target and as a result of these investments in billions of dollars?
First of all, is obviously increased production of copper, restoring our copper to 400 plus thousand tons per year, making us still the largest producer of copper in Zambia. Secondly, an additional 800 or so people that are being employed directly at Kansanshi. Over and above that is a whole process of people that depend on the mining industry in the Northwest, the business in the community, the suppliers, the contractors. It's a whole lot of them. And, of course, there's a health sector, which we as First Quantum, Your Excellence, pride in supporting in a big way. We support government in a tremendous way in the health sector. And we do it because we are still here. If we hadn't invested, I think the government would have been taking a bigger burden of carrying the health sector and the other social affairs in Solwezi and in Kalumbila.
Thank you very much. You may take your seat. So I just wanted to show you from the two ladies sitting, I'm sitting with, they're not sitting with me, I'm sitting with them. There's a difference between the two. So, and these two gentlemen who we worked through to reconstruct their investments and get them to move from the exit door they were heading to staying in the country, to reinvesting these billions to jobs, to suppliers, business opportunities, many of them. In the construction of S3, there were hundreds of Zambian suppliers, including cabling, electrical cabling, sourcing the cables from Zamefa, am I right, Dr. Bene? Right? And then different types of cables. And our citizens, youth, working there to build a first-class global mine upgrade there, which they called S3 consumption, reforms, talking to each other, hearing each other out, and contributing what I caught these two napping, what Anton didn't tell you, that those guys now have acquired 300 tons. What do you call those things? Dumpers. Dumpers. When you look at one dumper, it's there. You go to Lumwana Super Pit, you actually don't think you are in this country. And that's what I want to encourage people in this country to visit. Just an organized visit. You have a look at what's happened in the last 4 years. Your frame of mind will be different. Your attitude will be different. Attitude is important. My colleague who shares the business with the lady here talked of attitude. Where are you? Where is he? Is he gone? Your partner? Yeah? You can wave at me again. Big asset is the attitude, mind. But more importantly, Anton, he couldn't tell everything I wanted him to say. Those super dumpers are driven by women, young women, who some went through the skills training program under CDF, enhanced CDF. Those ladies who didn't go to university to get meal allowances and bursaries, but went to technical schools, some of which facilities are under the Lumwana mine, straight from the Lumwana area, my beloved Manyama, right? Train them, get them to drive those super dumpers. And they're proudly driving those. One of them invited me to climb up there. I think we must clap for these reforms. Something else Dr. Werner didn't tell you. I'm not the one who calls him Bean. It's these white guys who call him Bean. That's how they pronounce Werner. So to transit Kansanshi towards contributing to 500,000 tons of copper, to contribute to our 3 million tons target. These two, First Quantum was moving to 500,000 metric tons per year. When we set the target, the mines were going down. They were actually shut. We set a higher target, everybody thought we were crazy. 4 years down the road, with reforms, see where we are. We can do more as a country. That's the message. And Dr. Werner was conservative enough to say there are those in the community who say the mines are not paying a fair tax. Peter was showing the reforms that came through PPDF, discussed and put on the table with government, and through these platforms there were changes to some tax elements. Yes, to avoid double taxation, but also as shareholders between these businesses and government, ZSMIH is there, we reformed from a simple dividend to a loyalty model dividend and delivers more cash into the treasury. Thank you, Sixtus. Sorry, thank you, Festo Msonda. Nabeka Lemkwe. He's the chairman of ZSMIH. He's a proud chairman now that of the reforms we're making, fiscal reforms, shareholder discussions, increase revenue into the treasury to a point where those who say that the taxes that mines are paying are too small, their argument is based on ignorance. Today, with these reforms, First Quantum is the single largest taxpayer in this country. Single largest taxpayer in this country. It means these guys are helping us to support the free education policy, to get our 2.3 million children back to school. It is the taxes we're collecting from these guys following the reforms. That's the message. And the expansions that are coming through, enhancing our agenda for economic growth and more growth. That's a link. That's the story. That's how it works. We must embrace reforms, colleagues, citizens. We can't make noise. It is not good to make noise out there. You have issues, come to the table. The platform is here. You can see where is Costa Mas? You can wave at me again. Costa and I come a long way. And we debated issues in our days in opposition. I said, Costa, wait, when we form government, you will see the reforms we put in place. And then we chat with him, complains. I said, Costa, don't complain to me. I want a different attitude here. Come to the table. Introduce them with Andrew and team. You heard Costa's testimonial here. Changes are possible through reforms, and the platforms are here. Can we clap for the media? You may take your seat. That's what I chose to do today, rather than just give a speech. Testimonials, engagement, conversational items that can deliver the message to those that still need to come on board on our journey towards expansionary mindsets, behavior. It all starts in the head. Everything. This lady's business started in her head and her partner. Two heads. Then they walked through how they would do it, and they were. Here we are. That is what reforms can do. We must embrace them. You have criticism, Come to the table. Issue your criticism is okay, but come to the table. Isolate you in your brain, in your gray matter, how you believe your criticisms can be dealt with, how they can be solved. And there's batching, how we can do it. Let me move on and say part of the reforms, people don't see them face value. It is our decision we took for the people of Zambia, for the economy, to restructure the elephant in the room when we took office. Debt. The debt restructuring is actually reforms, to a point where now we're 94% done. And a week ago or two, there was an argument in the country, people posting stuff based. I said, the lady who invited me, I have to be very careful what I say. But I was going to say based on ignorance. That debate was based on ignorance. To say we have not achieved anything in the area of debt reforms, debt restructuring, yet the numbers were right there, glaring at us. And as my sister there, or Peter, whoever said it, from IFC, we have now third-party vouching, Standard & Poor's and Fitch, confirming that Zambia is out of the debt distress because of the reforms in the debt restructuring. Instead of arguing in that way, let's take advantage of the headroom that has now been created to bring more investments. Simple. Very simple. Try to encourage citizens, business people, all sizes, when you're challenged about something, come to the table. We together will work to find an answer. We can't do it in that particular year. It will come through in the following year. Absolutely. See what we've done on the reserves. We now have reserves in the country at grown to levels never experienced before since we became independent. $5.2 billion. $5.2 billion. You can call us greedy in this area. This is not enough. We want to build more reserves. This is not a platform for me to talk about the technical meaning and what value it brings, but it does help stabilize our currency. If for 5 months to 6 months we did not export and did not earn any dollars, we will still be able to meet our normal import requirements for the society and the economy to run. That's what it means. What did we inherit? Just about 1 month of import cap. Now we are 5 months plus, racing to 6. We can get to 1 year of import cover easily if we drive these reforms. We continue to do the things that we're doing. That's the issue. That's the conversation here. But here we are. Social spending, contrary to what many thought, has gone up for the vulnerable. Because every community, every family, every community, every economy has vulnerable people. And in my days in opposition, my competitors were saying, we can't vote for this capitalist, this stooge of capitalism. And I kept on saying, I'm not a stooge of any, it's not racist, any white man or any capitalist. I'm not a stooge of none. I'm a stooge of the people of Zambia. If you want to call me a stooge, I'm a stooge of the people of Zambia. Color is not the issue, but it's the black people. Since you guys want to see a polarization of white and black, it shouldn't be like that. It should be working together for the greater good of all in our one economy, one family. So we knew that there are people who need support. But these people who need support, who are vulnerable, could not receive our support if the economy did not grow. If we didn't invest, bring more investment, small and large, we couldn't help this. That's a connection. And I used to say to colleagues, we can't share poverty. I know we Africans claim to be good-hearted. But what's the value of a good heart when you are incapable of helping those who are worse off? Because you are not growing, you're not investing, you're not trading. So what good is your heart for? To whose benefit? I thought I should be conversational today. This is the issue. So we are the stooges of people who elect us into office to work for them. How do we work for them? It is to create opportunities for them, to send their children to school. And when people cry that free education can't work, it can't work. What is the problem? Little classroom space. We build more classroom space. By growing the economy, more investment, and more treasury income, then we prioritize allocation of resources instead of consumption expenditure. I think one of the colleagues here spoke about through the video, or is my friend over there, to drive our habits away from consumption expenditure to investment expenditure, to consuming less even when you are capable. Marginal utility of the same thing goes lower the more you do that stuff. If you drink beer, those of you guys who drink, how many bottles do you drink in a drinking session? And the more you drink, the more drunk and the more you start misbehaving. It's true. The marginal utility becomes actually negative and brings negative behavior if you take more of that stuff. Moderation is what I'm talking about. As a nation, we must be a nation of moderation on the consumption side and excessive on the investment side. That's what will drive growth. Simple. So the attitude change we're asking for is along those areas. And you see the benefits. This is a great country. I'm very unhappy that this economy is the size it is now. We can triple it, treble, quad it, this economy. I was saying to the ladies I'm seated with, because Andrew knows my story, I tell it to anybody over and over. Why we are setting targets is to create a motivation to move towards that figure. And we're saying, when we get to 1 million tons of copper at today's prices, that is close to $11 billion of turnover. We get to 3 million tons, is well over $33 billion. See what that will do to our GDP. See what that will do to the lady I'm sitting next to. She's in energy. It means the demand for energy would triple. So we have to work hard. From a deficit in energy driven by loss of generating capacity because of the hydro mono energy, the generating capacity went down. Then the growth and our targets comes in, the gap grows. So we have to work harder. By setting one target in the mining sector, it should drive us to set other targets such as energy. Our target now is to move electricity generation to 10,000 megawatts, 10 gigawatts. Automatically, one target leads us to another. Otherwise, we will not be able to achieve the copper production targets. That's a conversation I wanted to have with this private sector platform sitting in the public sector today. So we have to redouble our efforts in electricity. And what a good business. I keep on saying to Zambians, if you can't identify good businesses driven by effective demand, not just demand, effective demand, meaning the differential. We who try and look clever in economics and finance, is that demand is demand. There's potential demand, there's effective demand. Effective demand means it can pay for what it wants. Potential demand is a wish. Someone wants vodka, but they can't afford vodka. But effective demand is that one wants vodka and he can pay for the vodka. That's the difference. We have effective demand for electricity because the market can pay. We need to accelerate investments in the energy sector. This platform, this PPDF, PDU, this family conversation, seated nicely like this, should work day and night, coordinate us with capable grey matter. Let's use that grey matter and our network, working with colleagues. If Zambia Sugar can, after I visited that MD there, he was proudly telling me how much power they generate. I said, no, you can do more. You can do more. Now they're targeting 100 megawatts. Your consumption of power is how much? About 40. So when you scale up to 100, it means two things. First, you win yourself from the grid demanding for power. And that power can be available for her so that her fridges are always running. And someone else. First issue. Second issue is that you will put on the grid 60 megawatts. You see that? So we saying, let's not wait for someone to do it. Those of us with the capacity, let us do. Let us add. I was asking the lady here, when she was running through her story, there was one plant, a solar plant. So I said to her, how many kilowatts is that? I think you told me how many? 100? 100 kilowatts. Every bit matters. If you can't afford a megawatt, you can afford 100 kilowatts. My dear brother there, Guy Robinson, we farmers tend to think in a flat way. We're great people, but sometimes we think in a flat way. You don't have to complain about load shedding because Guy, Kushia Farm, your neighbors, you can come together and do 2 megawatts, 3 megawatts, and you don't have to worry about your center pivots. There will be power there. You will also be throwing the difference onto the grid through our reforms again in the energy sector. Net metering, open access, independent power producers, independent traders, power blending, tariff blending, not power blending, tariff blending. These are the reforms this government has brought in place. Without the energy reforms, after the drought, would have shut this economy down. But I hear complaints in the communities, why you have these independent producers, these greedy business people, these selfish people? You forget that that light you switch on to cook in your house comes from them. And if there were no reforms to bring them in, before it was only ZESCO, and later on CEC, Myanmar Fortune, which I also put together and structured CEC, and I saw how CEC was being demonized, actually almost closed. And I said to the CEC guys, just campaign, we win, your business will be secure. One of the first trips I took after winning was to go to CEC to assure them that nobody will shut their business because we need the energy. I'm not joking, I'm serious. And I said to them, deepen your power now, invest more. And they're investing more. In Timpi 1, in Timpi 2, and I've been there officiating to send a message to other investors that your investments is secure here. You can clap for that. Security of investment. This government does not want expropriation. That's why we restored KCM, which was expropriated. We restored it with all the challenges. We were sending a message that you don't expropriate businesses. If you have issues, you sit down with businesses, small or large. And people think it's only big investors that are afraid of expropriation. If the government moves to expropriate her business, it's even more painful than those who have alternatives. And see the efforts they've made? And some strange individual calling themselves politicians, they come and shut her business down. What does that mean to her? Destroying her completely. It's not just her who will be angry. Other investors will be scared now to say maybe they will come for me. Isn't it? This environment is safe for investment from Zambian investors, regional investors, African investors, global investors, but we want investment structured in a way that they help create jobs, business opportunities. They enhance treasury income. And the cycle goes on and on. I've already touched mines. Changes that have been made in the tax side, on the tax side, stable regime. Before we came into office, that period, mine taxes changed 18 times. Dingani, 18 times. As the Commissioner General of ZRA, you can stand up and wave at the people. Stand up and wave at the people. ZRA is not as harmful as you want to define them. They are able to sit to resolve tax arrears, time to pay arrangements. I've said to Dingani, don't shut businesses down. Don't take businesses to court. Don't shut businesses down. He's there. Don't take them to court. Bring them to the table and discuss the issues, why they're not paying tax, the challenges they have. Because if you shut them down, even that amount you are owed is gone. You never recover it. But if you sit them down, you negotiate, you understand where they're coming from, you make them understand where you're coming from, their responsibilities, you save the business, then agree time to pay with them, ask them to pay a deposit on arrears, tax arrears, and how they'll pay the residual amount. Also do a deal where the current taxes they must pay. And everybody will be happy. Everybody will be happy. Jobs will be saved, but also the businesses will learn that you need to meet your obligations, especially when they are fair obligations. So, colleagues, this is a great day. If you listen to the testimonials, as I was listening, I know you were listening, the geophysical mapping. This government made a decision. Namakao, is she here? Kaingo. Ah, thank you. Wave at the people, wave at the people. She is an old friend of mine, and she used to complain over and over. She's been in this business for 40 years, that one. Consistent. You may take your seat. And she used to complain and complain. I said, relax. We'll deal with those issues. You have heard her testimonies. I mean, when we were in opposition, and I said, wait, don't shut down. She wanted to shut down. That's her mind. Because it was not viable to continue what she was doing. Now she can tell the story. Through PPD, through that stream, work is happening, solutions are being found, and we heard what you said. By the way, all of you who have asks, I was seated there, yes, this has happened, we want more things to happen, please submit those asks to the PPDU so that they will now be scheduled as part of the work program to help find solutions to the outstanding issues that are bothering your businesses. I hope you have heard. Even those who have not spoken, you have issues, submit the issues, then they will be structured. Again, we say that we can't have a country working in chipante-pante all over the shore. Let's be structured. Let's be methodical. This is the value of this platform. In an organized way, we can solve problems. When we fail to solve problems, we will reach out to friends, partners, who may have experienced that problem, and then we see, how did you solve this problem? That's an organized way of working. I was born here, went to school here. Before I went to school in Europe, I went to school here. I know the mentality of us, complaining, complaining, and complaining. Translate those complaints into a written piece, organize your mind, submit those complaints to the PPD, and we'll tackle it. I love my country as you love it. Since we love our country, we can change it for the better, for more people to benefit, even those who are not yet born. And we can do it together. We're part of the global village. We want to benchmark, learn from other people. How have they done it? The other day I was joking, the Japanese ambassador came to say bye to me, and I said to him, I love the Japanese culture. They say little but do a lot. They don't grandstand, they don't shout, but they do a lot. And we can learn. This morning I was telling the World Bank colleague, I said I love, you may stand up and wave at the people. Just wave at them. He's German. You may take your seat. I say I love the culture of Bavaria in Germany. It's a very successful part of Germany. And I said, we just need to steal some of that mentality, attitude, and bring it here. And mix things. And we can move a lot of things. We learn from each other. Admiration should not lead to jealousy. Admiration should lead to willingness to learn. Right? That's the difference. I can go on and mention names, nationalities. I don't want to make this a geopolitical issue. But that's my appeal to us business people in this country. We should be willing to learn different ways of doing things, and we'll probably make our businesses more successful than what they are today. I've touched on energy, no need to waste time. Manufacturing, good testimonials. Good testimonials. This manufacturing sector, the fertilizer story tells it all, from importer to net exporter, within 4 years. Simple. Reforms. Pharmaceuticals, you heard the story. We've laid the foundation stone on a partnership, at the M phase there, on a partnership between ourselves and ACAMS, which will produce pharmaceuticals, related products, 700 products, right here in the Lusaka South M phase. Together with what our colleagues are doing here, Yashi and my young friend, where is the ZAM chairman, the new ZAM chairman? Where are you? You may stand up, greet the people. He's a new ZAM chairman, Zambia Association of Manufacturers. May we clap for him a bit more? Thank you. Thank you. Long chats with him, encouraged him to move on, and that will be supportive. And he can tell you that we are supportive as a government. That's our duty. That's our responsibility. But more importantly, they touched on it. I want to reinforce that point. This government will drive hard positive discrimination in the procurement chain. When we have businesses that produce here, process here, and then we are buying goods, they will be sitting top of the list that we have to buy from them before we buy from anyone else. So take note of that. We must formalize this. We shouldn't, Secretary of Cabinet, we must formalize this Today, HH is here. Tomorrow, there'll be somebody else who will take a different turn. We must formalize and, where possible, legislate positive discrimination in the procurement, that we buy from our own businesses. I don't mean the business where we're shareholding only. I'm talking of Zambian business, because these are our businesses, irrespective of who owns it. So we put money back in the economy. We create more jobs. That's why we are happy. Even the attitude of locating here, our desire, locate here, process, produce here, raw materials, process here, then export from here. One of the colleagues talked about 20 million, 22 million people, then 300, actually 400 million, close to SADC population, and beyond SADC. This is the place to locate. I'm also happy that citizens are listening to what we're saying. Very enthused to hear that today. I said to Kangwa, Abena Kangwa, Ushabena Zambia Vale Kutika. If you today land, Vale Kutika. So it's nice to hear that people are listening. This is not a disadvantage to be located the way Zambia is located. It's a great advantage. Land linked. 1 hour, 40 minutes to Johannesburg. 2.5 hours to Nairobi. 1 hour, 50 minutes to Dodoma in Tanzania. 40 minutes to Harare, Lilongwe. This is an excellent location. Let's locate investments here, produce raw materials here, process it here, supply the domestic market and also the regional market and Africa, as we position ourselves for the Africa Free Trade Area. I don't want us to be observers. I want us to be key players in the broader market. Yet we're in a deficit in electricity. I'm sorry about that. But there's an opportunity. I touched on it already. The plan of the African leaders, some of us who are newer in the presidency, are injecting a new spirit on the AU to say, why we come here, we only talk politics, politics, politics. Let's have more discussions around business, economy, investment, trade, right? Now we are saying we need a single electricity market on the African continent. That's why you are hearing the message on interconnectors, Zambia, Tanzania interconnector. Once we invest in that, World Bank colleagues, we must move fast. I'm unhappy that we're slow. It means we'll be connected to the East African electricity market into Ethiopia. Just imagine. We're already connected in Southern Africa through the Southern African Power Pool. But there are limitations. The interconnector capabilities are too small. That's why you saw me in Zimbabwe a month ago. To allow for us to, as we have a shortage here of electricity, to bring in more power. Under the pool, we are allowed to move up to 600 megas. But we're only moving to 250, 300. And that's why you saw me going there, amongst the reasons I went there. That's my job. I told you I'll be the chief marketing officer, chief salesman, chief investment officer. That's what I was doing there. I'm happy to say that we've expanded the allowable power. And thank you to my colleagues in Zimbabwe to bring more power. As we generate more power, as we increase our capacity to 10 gigawatts, 10,000 megawatts. So, this is an excellent location. I don't want to hear Zambians mourning about landlockedness. No. Icona, man. Icona. It's an excellent location. Let's utilize it. Logistics, they all come through here. The Durban corridor comes through here. Beira corridor comes through here. Nakala corridor comes through here. Walvis Bay corridor comes through here. Tazara, you know. I don't have to mention it. Comes through here. The Lobito corridor, we negotiated immediately we took office. We were out of the loop. My first few flights out of the country was getting ourselves in the Lobito corridor loop, and we successfully managed to get what is called the Northwest Rail Line. Luakano in Angola, Kanongesha, Mwenilunga, Kalumbila, Lumwana, Solwezi, Chingola. Not just the rail, but the road and other things. Not just to move metals, but agricultural products. That is why this PPD and PDU instruments were created, so that we can all be at the same, reasonably same or similar wavelength on what we want to do for the country. And then we can work our way through specific activities, segment them into sectors where necessary. But this is just for convenience. Ultimately, it's one thing. It has to come together. Teamwork. That's the issue, colleagues. Digital has been talked about very, very well. Digitalization, critical. Critical. We must accelerate this aspect. It's a platform for us to do things quicker, efficiently, and also reduce the potential for graft, for corruption. We can place, I know e-government, we're working very hard. E-economy, we're working very hard. We can do more. We can do a lot more. And you are the ones to implement that. The benefits are known. Service delivery will be efficient at a lower cost and lesser kasam-thing. Kasam-thing. I know some people don't know what a kasam-thing. Ka add-on, can retain tax. We can cut out those people who believe everything they must get a commission and load the cost of doing business and make us uncompetitive. Because that kasam thing leads to a higher cost of doing business. Delays deliberately so that that one who wants a license can end up being motivated to pay something. Let's cut out that kasam thing. That's the kasam thing I'm talking about. I learned this from a young lady from Kawamba, right? on television. When we employed teachers, she was a teacher unemployed for 5-6 years before we formed them. And when we came in, we employed teachers. So she was there celebrating. She says, this UPND government has employed me without knowing anybody in government, without asking me for kasam thing. That's when I learned of this kasam thing. She says before, to apply for a job, you needed to pay someone some money. Now she was employed without paying anybody any money, kasam thing. That's a load on the cost of doing business. We shouldn't be doing those things. You do it anyway, you're on your own. At that point, it's a departure point. And don't complain. You're on your own. But seriously. But the digital platforms will help us to protect those people who have a perpetual habit of wanting some graft from anything, even to perform your normal duty. So, digital growth is great. Broadband, 52%, moving to 72%. 11 million citizens or residents of Zambia are on mobile money. Can you believe that? 11 million people have transited to mobile money, the users of mobile money, digital platforms. Are you surprised that this sector, ITC sector, is growing? 11 million. Digital payments have increased by over 200%. Even if you charge small margins there, you make small margins, you still make a lot of money because the volumes are bigger, isn't it? Infrastructure has been commented on. Thank you very much for your recognition. Tourism, my dear friends. Just to give you context, once we introduce a few things on it, which I knew, Andrew knew that I've been talking about what we've done in the last 4 years. I have been talking about it 30 years back. To say, can we make these changes, tourism will grow? Nobody would listen. You put us in office, bingo, opportunity to do what we couldn't do in 30 years. Taking out the visa is one of us. If you have records in the ministries, you see some of my letters I wrote 30 years ago as a young boy to say, can we reform these things so that we can give an opportunity to increase tourism business? One of that was the visa, to take out the visa. We're the ones who want tourists to come here. Okay? I'll give you a checklist on my fingertips. The visa issues, right? To remove the VAT on the room rate. You will see my letters of 30 years back. Take the visa out, take out the VAT on the room rate, right? Deal with the yellow fever perception, because it's important to tourists. They won't come if they think that there's yellow fever there, and they may die after they visit from here. But we're not yellow fever, but that status was tagged on us. PS tourism. It was tagged on us. What is difficult in that? Let's lower the JA1, sure. Amongst a few things, you will find those letters. Now, we've just done a few things and see the impact. 2021, we had 536,000 arrivals, tourists. Where we are now, we are going to close the year close to 2.5 million tourists. Almost there, isn't it? 1.9, in October, we believe that November, December, we will gap up to close to 2.5 million tourist arrivals. See what you can do with minimal changes. We can do more. That's the message. That's the message. Over $150 million of new hospitality investments. Here where we are, we need a mega hotel inside these premises. Here. Big business opportunity. And the space is already allocated. I think, where are we? I think it's this side. You know, PS. Where are we supposed to put up a hotel? This direction. Behind this side. Near the old wing. Let's move. Let's move, my friend. Let's move fast. Let's attract investment so that we have a mega hotel here. People can work late here and then walk over to their room. They don't have to be exposed outside. But it is happening. Agriculture. Before I go there, auxiliary infrastructure, we've set to upgrade our provincial airports in all the 10 provinces. Kasama is done. Basic things, 3-kilometer runway, landing lights, terminal building upgrade, the technical issues about flying, landing, and taking off. That's all. We couldn't do these things for 50 plus years. You couldn't use Kasama Airport after 18 hours, after 17:30. You had to rush from your meeting in Kasama to go to the airport. You don't have to do that now. You can fly in and out of Kasama 24/7. Taking our money where it's needed the most. The same limited envelope. Now we're working on Mansa. That corner of our country needs that. Investors don't have time to be on the road for so long. Tourists, fellow citizens here, business people. So we're doing that in all the 10 provinces within our restricted envelope. When we grow the economy faster, we can do more. and then it will feed into more business, more revenue, and more jobs. Mansa was such a short runway. And now you see the yellow machines there. I was very happy. I was going into there by helicopter, and I said to the pilot, do around here. The yellow machines are opening up to increase the runway, and everything is happening. Mansa will be something else. And then that man called Dr. Sictus Mulenga, stand up and greet the people. Is one of the few Zambians with a large-scale mine. And I said to this government, we have to support Sictus, my good friend. He wanted to move some of his material, although we are focusing on local processing, but he needed to move some of the material to raise his capital. I said, give the permission to him. I hope you got your permission. Wonderful. Done. Testimonial. We support fellow citizens. Let's not demonize them. Let's not call them names. We should emulate them. And we want 20, 100 more Zambians to run proper mines, not illegal mines. Legal mine, safe mining, right? Formal trade, security. We're not against anybody here. We just want the country to remain stable and peaceful. We don't want to breed militias in these mining areas. That's what could happen. We should not go in that area. We should not go in that direction. We will regret. It will damage our investment climate. So, thank you, Sictus. He and I have taken a decision now, unilaterally, the two of us, that we want 2 big mines in Muchinga province. Hopefully one in Pika, another one in Isoka. Even today I was reminding him, Natubombe Mune, Natubombe. Monday, yes. Thank you. Give him your hands, give him your hands. Thank you, Sictus. Dr. Lamkwa. Jordan Soko. Turn around, greet the people. Jordan and his partners were having challenges in a tenement they had. They couldn't drill for little small unnecessary rigidities. And I said to Jordan and Norman, I said, you guys are friends. Why would you be fidgeting? You have problems, you're not talking. PPD is there. So I said, we're going to solve your problems. Today he's confirming to me he couldn't drill for years. Now he's drilling. How many meters have you drilled? 12,000 meters of drilling. Can we clap for him? Mr. Jordan Sok, you may take your seat. That's what this platform is all about. It's not about anything else. That's what it's all about. So if Jordan can drill, he will do the find, he will develop his mind, he will employ people. That's our interest. And he will contribute towards 3 million tons. We should all be happy. It doesn't matter what his name is, how tall he is, because you Zambians like small little petty things that you pay attention to. Right? Zambia. So, and transiting from finance and accounting into mines. At least Sictus is a miner throughout. Him is transiting from finance, accounting into mining. It's beautiful, isn't it? So bring your problem. If you have an issue, bring it. That's the issue. I think agriculture, Mr. Guy Robinson there would say, Guy, can you stand up and greet the people? True farmer, that one. Wave at the people. Amubaya abantu badala. Thank you, Guy. Let's clap for Mr. Robinson. Great things these colleagues are doing, 10 million tons of maize, we can do it. But the market is now an issue. Produce more, we're challenged with the market. We only produce close to 4 million tons and we're struggling with the market. We need businesses here and outside to take up grain marketing and bring the money on the table. Government doesn't have to struggle to raise more money to pay farmers. It's an opportunity. There's demand in the region, Congo, Malawi, everybody. So I invite the business people now, invest in this opportunity in proper structured grain marketing. Don't come to the treasury asking for pittance to pay farmers. Buy the crop from the farmers at a fair price. Mill it. Let's send meal into Lubumbashi, not maize. Why? Because we retain the milling jobs here. Simple. Irrigation agriculture. The drought comes next time, we should be okay in 2 years' time. 500,000 hectares of land, average production of 8 tons per hectare, 4 million tons. Our consumption, 2.7 million tons, human and animal. Pretty easy, straightforward. And that's why the fiscal side on irrigation equipment has been lightened, the burden on the fiscal side. Take advantage, colleagues. We want to see small, micro, small, medium, large irrigation. My sister seated with me there, she was talking about the importance of energy for small irrigation. And more importantly, instead of 1 crop a year, at least we'll have 2 crops a year per hectare. So we can double production on the existing hectares. We don't have to cut more trees and damage the environment. We can utilize the existing hectares, but we inject irrigation onto it. Tell us what is standing in your way, and Andrew and team will deal with it. Secretary of Cabinet, everybody, all of us. Financial services, thank you very much, colleagues. What you're doing, coming to the table, green bond, thank you very much. Let's clap for the financial services. I was saying to Andrew, why didn't the other presentation come through? They may start thinking that Mukwandi is the favorite girl. So where is Stanbic, Hichilema, who's helped us? Can the banking colleagues stand up? All those in the financial services, where you are, stand up. Stand up, stand up, stand up. Chivesa Kunda and Chivesa Kunda, the ladies, where are they? The rest of them, where you are. Ah, there they are. Turn around and wave at people. 360 degrees. Turn around, wave at the people. Can we clap for these colleagues of ours? Mkalani Pans, Amukare, Navekare. Thank you for what you're doing, your innovative products. I was chatting with Andrew there. I've got him to do some notes there. The capital markets. Is the regulator here, capital markets, and the operator. Where is the operator? Can you stand up? Now you two must sit down together before the president invites you at State House. We want innovative financial products coming through the capital market. And we want the regulator to authorize those products quickly, pulling small amounts of money together, building larger quantums to support these businesses, including energy. So before we invite you, can you sit and talk? The regulator, be a facilitator. The operator, be innovative. Mop up the money from citizens. These citizens have a lot of money sitting, earning very little. We have over, is Bank of Zambia here? Before you sit down, is Bank of Zambia here? Central Bank is not here. But Pamela, my economic advisor, Dr. Nakamba, may you stand up? We have money in the banking system. In fact, the banks know, which Zambians are keeping in low-yielding deposits, close to $3 billion. Am I right? Just sitting there latent. You may all take your seats. Just sitting there. We want innovation to bring that money to go into industry and sweat. That money should work for us, for this economy. That's the message I'm sending. You talk to the operator, say, we have restrictions. The regulator can't allow us to do this and that and that. Regulator, be a facilitator. Protect public money, yes, but be a facilitator. And we'll have more money for these banks and indeed for the businesses to uptake. Growth, and more growth. For jobs, for business opportunities, for treasury income, we will all be happy. So that's our core. We clapped for you, financial service sector, but you are lagging behind. 3, we call it a triad in our field. Inflation, interest rates, exchange rates. They are moving towards a happy position we call convergence. Inflation is moving well, exchange rate is moving well, interest rates are lagging behind. You need to lower the cost of money. That's our forte. You can help us in the growth as well. We want this triad to move and move properly to benefit investors and growth in the economy. You have heard. You have heard. Mwambera. Mukonze ka? Mukonze nkaniyo. I think the media working group, Costa, thank you for what you're doing. I've already commented on that. And the women work group, thank you for what you're doing. I was listening very carefully when you were speaking there. And other work streams, Andrew, we want more work streams. Any gap, pharmaceuticals, now it's working well. Any gaps, colleagues, you see a gap that your issues are not being attended to a sector, log in. That is the job of this PPD. Let's get it done. Just to say the reform priorities for 2026 include in public sector streamlining licenses, permits, they're a menace. Tourism, we're moving to a single license. A single license. So it has to happen PS. That's why you are PS there. That's your deliverable, not process. Muboma, we don't do things like that. Just get it done. Single license, too many licenses, 33 plus. At my time, when we were putting up that, Royal Livingstone there, we needed 33 licenses. That's crazy. Wave at people so they can know who is a problem there. Wave at the people. He will deliver, isn't it? You will deliver. Working with the business community. And the idea is not to increase the cost of that license because we are collapsing licenses into one. That's not the idea. I argue with colleagues. The money, the value is not in the license fee. The value is in the growth of the businesses, and you will achieve more rewards and more revenue. It's not in the license fee. I've made this point over 30 years in this country. And somehow people don't want to listen. It's not, same with the visa fee. When we removed the visa fee, we had a hot cabinet debate. And some of my colleagues were saying, no, but we're going to lose this income. And I said, how can someone think like that? I said, you see the value that will come from more tourists. Here are the numbers. And we're more than tripled. The revenue is incomparable. The value doesn't sit in the license fee. It sits in the increased business volumes. In the pay-as-you-earn, as more employees will be employed. In many things. P.S. Otherwise, we'll not go to boy. We want to harmonize local authority licenses, councils, also into a single trading license in the local authorities. Are we together? That's our agenda. Please help us to achieve that through this platform, which has brought us here today. We want to align fees to service delivery. Am I making sense here? Align fees to service delivery. You just can't collect the fee and you don't provide the service. What is that fee for? What is it for? That is our interpretation of private sector-driven economic growth. That we in the public sector must provide a service to the private sector to help them grow their business and invest more. And it's a win-win situation. So, regulators, let's change from the mentality of a regulator must control to a mentality of a regulator must facilitate. It's a big, big difference there. Regulator must facilitate, not control. You find a client in the waiting room, wants to say regulator. The regulator emotionally thinks that they are superior to the person sitting in the waiting room. An attitude to say, like, you are the big buana. They want a license, they must be nice to you. What do you mean? You must be nice to them because when they invest, they will pay your salaries. It's a different mindset. It's a different mindset, colleagues. It's a different mindset. Private sector reforms, definitely. The energy security, sufficiency, surplus is the elephant in the room. We need to accelerate things there, working together quickly. Licenses, clearance, ZEMA, environmental assessment must be done very quickly. Bukiji, Musanga, Wangu Tacherwa, that sort of stuff. Attitude, mindset. Because we are in a serious crisis. We need to remedy that situation. You can see, and I said to the Minister of Energy, don't talk about additional power. Let the people see that there are more hours now. They will talk on their own. Let's not announce these things. Let the citizens and businesses, small businesses, saloon. I saw, madam, when you installed that 100 kilowatts, young girls now are having their hair done. I saw that. Beauty is not just for the town people. It's even for us rural people, isn't it? We're going to flush toilets, which is happening now because of power. Abstract water, borehole, tank. We can have saloons in the rural areas for young ladies. We're going to have barber shops. This is the elephant in the room. We invite more investments, colleagues, in this area. That's our call. And for those in the public sector is to facilitate. We've already said that. Climate change is not a joke. That's why we need a diversified energy portfolio, electricity portfolio. We must all be agreed there. Let's not talk other things that kill our economy. We'll talk about those things when we are sufficient, we have energy sufficiency and surplus. By the way, just Lubumbashi and Lualaba, I guess I'm right, Katanga and Lualaba province of Congo. Just these two provinces immediately, they need close to 3,000 megawatts. We are better placed to supply that power from Zambia. For many reasons. I don't want to explain the reasons. Some of them you know already. Secure, stable here. We invest here. Then let's take that as demand that is available to enhance the commercial viability of our investments. If we don't supply them, someone else will supply them. And we'll lose that market. And then you want to grow your economy. You can't shrink your way to the top. You have to expand your way to the top. That's a very serious mindset. right? So I talked about digital solutions, all of that stuff, greater participation. Zambians, please. We want to see more Zambian businesses involved in public-private partnerships. Give a longer-term project, contract 25 years, annuity income. Don't be scared of these things. Because we don't want them to look like they are meant for foreigners only. Come into the public-private partnership space. Come. Venture. Right? Get involved in the transmission space as well. We've opened up the sector. Generation, transmission, get involved. One of my sins of the past was to advise my clients to help them smell where the good business opportunities are. I used to be paid a lot of money for that. Now I'm saying it for free. Come in this space. There's good business there. Come in the energy space. You don't have to pay me. You already paid me through your vote. I don't need something. We will facilitate. You don't have to pay something. Seriously. Water infrastructure, come through. We've established what we're calling a delivery coalition to fast-track priority reforms with a private sector participation. Am I right, Secretary Cabinet? Andrew, delivery coalition, meaning bringing different ministries, different departments to work as one team, so that investors don't have to trot from one ministry to another. But you raise your issue through one ministry, it will be on the table of the delivery coalition. And it should be dealt with. And you should demand results. You as a business people, you must demand results. Our lines are open. If somebody's sitting on these things, make a call. As my colleagues in government knows now, I call meetings after my prayers on Sabbath afternoon, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon. There is no working day. Every day is a working day. You can't say to people, it's not a working day. Which is the working day? Every day is a working day. Why? Because there's work to be done. Every hour is a working hour. Last night we were in State House up to 21 hours because we are solving a problem. It's an emergency. And if you saw Jito here, he's gone. I've asked him to leave. I said, Jito, leave this room, go. He's been coming to where I'm seated. We're checking. I'm clearing things. Go and write this letter. I'll sign it. I hope from here straight I'm signing a letter. I said, go. I want to sign the letters from here so that we can clear a transaction that will bring us close to $2 billion. There is no working hours or working day. Every hour is a working hour. Every day is a working day. Can we change the attitudes, my fellow citizens? Let's change our attitudes. We can do better. Here's the platform. Let's use it. PSs, don't sit on things and say, no, I've gone for a funeral. Today is Friday. Today is Friday, isn't it? I'm going for a funeral. We'll see you on Monday, on Tuesday. What do you mean? Jesus said, let the dead bury themselves. You know, he didn't mean that literally. He meant that do things, yet you can still bury. Isn't it? That's what Jesus meant. He's the Son of God. All the brains are reposed in him. Let the dead bury themselves. One day he walks through, on the Sabbath, cornfields. His disciples are hungry, they're plucking corn, and they're eating. So the Pharisees say, this man is a Jew. His disciples are working on the Sabbath, sacred day. They say, we have caught him today. So they go to him and say, your disciples are harvesting on the Sabbath. You've committed a crime. So he looks at them. He knew what they were trying to do. He says, right, your only animal, you only own one animal, drowns in the well, drops in the well, and if you don't take it out, it will die. What will you do? You let it die, or you take it out of the well because it's on the Sabbath. He says, no, we'll take it out. He says, go. You have answered your own question. Go. The day was made for man, not man for the day. You can pick these principles and apply them in what I'm saying today. Truly, private sector must take ownership of the PPDF day and activities. Take ownership. This was created for the private sector. So you can take the lead, colleagues. So created for you. So you can take the lead. Those complaints you used to make that you're not being attended to, set the agenda now as the private sector. And PPD will be there, PDU will be there, Cabinet Office will be there, Finance will be there, State House will be there, all of us will be there. Take the lead. 4 years is a good period to understand each other. Take over the leadership now. And we want to thank Zambia Sugar for your sponsorship as a lead sponsor and all other sponsors. Can we clap for all other sponsors? Can the sponsors stand up wherever you are, sponsors, Zambia Sugar? All the sponsors, stand up please, all the sponsors. Wave around, turn around and wave. Turn around and wave. Manja, 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 manja. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your sponsorship. We really appreciate your sponsorship. So, I have a pronouncement to make. Going forward, this is the last time we meet this way. Going forward, private sector, you lead. But I have instructed the Secretary to the Cabinet that this day will now become a formalized day for the private sector every year. We have Youth Day, we have Women's Day, we have Independence Day, we have a day of prayer, we have a day of declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation, but we didn't have a day for the business. So this is your day, and it will be gazetted that this is a business day. But hear me, we have too many holidays in this country. This will not be a holiday. It will be a working business day, where you may even choose to structure it in a way that we are in this hall, presentations are going on, there are deal rooms around here. People are doing transactions. There will be, we can even invite Mozambique minister. Where is the Mozambique minister? Minister from Mozambique, where are they? You may stand up. Can we clap for them? Thank you. Advisor. So you may structure it in a way that there are deal rooms, there are presentations like this, but there are also deal rooms, transaction rooms. You use the word deal, people think it's dirty. No, transaction rooms. Secure markets, sign contracts, agreements. The president will be happy to be amidst you, to hang around. You need to resolve a particular issue like what we are resolving with JITO and the Minister of Mines and the Minister of Lands and infrastructure. I've said to these guys yesterday, you keep me here, I love it, but you do your work. I'm going to the private sector day. When I come out, I want to sign things. I want to see that you have reached agreement. And Jito tells me that they have reached agreement. And we are going to get them to sign. So it will not be a holiday. It will be a working day. Private sector day, but gazetted. Difference, isn't it? From other holidays. Working day, conclusion day of what you have been negotiating for a period of time. And so at the end of that day, we will count our eggs in the basket. How many deals have been concluded? What are they worth? How many jobs are they going to bring about? So it becomes our habit and norm, yet it's more beneficial than many things that we do. I thought I'd close by saying the things that you have raised today there that are challenging you, can we forward that checklist to the team, Andrew and Kuso's team, and then they'll be allocated in the right work streams. And next year, when you run this day, I want a session. I'm proposing. Don't call me draconian. I'm proposing a session, IFC colleagues and others, Andrew, that will now be saying, we raise these issues in the 2025 session. This is the progress we've made on those issues. We need deliverables. I think I've said enough. May God bless all of you. May God bless our country. Zambia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you. I now invite Mr. Mohammed Omar from Farmanova to come and give a vote of thanks. He's also the newly elected Zambia Association of Manufacturers President. Mohammed.
The guest of honor, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema. For the interest of time, may I simply say all protocols observed. It is with deep sense of gratitude and great responsibility that I stand here before you today to deliver this vote of thanks on behalf of private sector. Your Excellency, we extend our profound appreciation for your continued stewardship over Zambia's economic trajectory. Today, we gather for the 4th Private Sector Day of the Private-Public Dialogue Forum, an initiative you introduced early on in your presidency, and now one that has become a model of collaboration across our continent. Over these years, the private sector can confidently attest to the benefits of consistent, open, structured dialogue between government and private sector. This platform has become a cornerstone of Zambia's growing economic confidence, policy predictability, and investor trust. Mr. President, the PPD Forum has greatly enhanced collaboration between government, manufacturers, micro, small, medium enterprises, and the broader private sector. It is no surprise that we are now witnessing a surge in private sector investment, the highest in recent memory. Through this collaboration, we are seeing policy actions that are not only practical, but transformational for growth. For example, the mining sector, we now anticipate a significant shift. Under the new regulation, mining houses will be required to reserve a minimum of 20% of the procurement budgets for Zambian suppliers. This should be increasing progressively over the next 5 years. This is not just policy progress. This is the start of a long-awaited structural rebalancing of our economy in favor of local industry. This is how we build Zambian wealth. This is how we build Zambian jobs and Zambian value chains. Mr. President, this agenda strongly complements one of our own flagship national initiatives, the Proudly Zambian campaign. Through the Proudly Zambian campaign, in partnership with the Ministry of Commerce, Trade and Industry, we are championing local production, local procurement, and growth of local value chains. We are working with manufacturers, service providers, small and medium enterprises, and citizens to promote the consumption of Zambian-made goods and services. The alignment between government policy and national campaigns, such as the Proudly Zambian campaign, is creating powerful ecosystems that encourage all of us to choose local, build local, and grow local. Mr. President, from our perspective as manufacturers, we are responding strongly to the enabling environment your administration has created. In 2024, the manufacturing sector contributed 9.3% to GDP, the highest since 1990. Mr. President, I will repeat that. In 2024, the manufacturing sector contributed 9.3% to GDP, the highest since 1990. Over the last 4 years, under your leadership, we have made significant strides. The foundation for broad-based economic prosperity has been laid. Mr. President, you spoke about the reforms that we have achieved. You spoke about the debt restructuring. You spoke about where we were and where we are today. Before I conclude, Mr. President, allow me to use a small analogy from the aviation sector some of you might know of. In the aviation sector, or the pilots that might be in this room know that when a plane is ready for takeoff, there's a certain point where the pilot mentions that we are now in what we call V1. V1 is a point where there is no return, no turning back, no retreat, and the plane must take off and soar higher. Mr. President, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Meraki is in V1. Ignite Energy is in V1. Women in mining are in V1. Yash is in V1. Mwamfushi Safaris are in V1. FQM is in V1. Mr. President, we as Zambia are in V1. The checklists have been completed. The path is cleared, and this economy, our economy, is ready for takeoff. No matter the headwinds we face, we are resilient, we are focused, and we will keep moving forward. With resurgence in mining, agriculture, agro-processing, and with Zambia projected to be the fastest, amongst the fastest growing economies in the world, we are entering a new era of possibility. And so, Your Excellency, on behalf of the entire private sector, we extend our sincerest appreciation, and even more on your announcement of declaring this a private sector working day. Allow me to also extend our gratitude to the PPDF Forum for their tireless collaboration and for creating this platform such as this one, platforms that give industry a voice, a space for solutions, and a chance to build together. To our friends in the media, thank you for amplifying the good work that is happening through these initiatives, for telling the Zambian story locally, regionally, and globally. To the private sector, the captains of industries, the leaders of business, thank you for your resilience, for your innovation, and your unwavering commitment to driving our economy forward. And to each and every one of you here today, your presence is a statement of intention. It is a reminder of what we can achieve as a country when we come together with purpose, vision, and determination. It is only through consistent collaboration, leveraging our strengths, and aligning our shared national priorities that we can transform our economy, double or triple our GDP, and deliver to the people of Zambia the prosperity and dignity they deserve. Mr. President, thank you very much. Dear distinguished guests, thank you for your attention. May God bless you all. May God bless Zambia. Thank you.